Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka 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 podcast.
Baka!
Baka.
It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
If you're tuning into this podcast, you're probably aware this is a mini-sode. And so you have turned it down and probably aren't paying too much attention because who tries during Baka 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 minisodes when we don't talk about an anime that we watched the past 2 weeks? We just talk about random topics that we think of. That's right. That's where you've come to. You're desperate. I assume.
There must be nothing else out there right now.
But that doesn't mean we aren't glad to have you here, and we hope the discussion that we are about to have you want to join in with. But first, let's meet our host. My name is Troy, and I've been playing the Telltale Game of Thrones game, and I hate my life. It's not even a great game, but it's Game of Thrones, so every decision, you either pick the coward's choice and you get your comeuppance later, or you do the noble route and you get your comeuppance now. That's what I'm given every time, and it's wearing me down. I'm only halfway through the game.
You know the saying, if you run away today, you live to run away another day.
None gets chance. You get stabbed that second time in the throat, and you're 12.
So, you know that like every save game is getting streamed to George R. Martin, and he's got his bucket of popcorn. He's like, I enjoy the pain.
He's so evil. Let me introduce my other host. We have the Kermit to my Fozzie, Jeremy. What you been up to?
Hey, Tanya and I got to finally watch Deadpool this last week.
Oh, yeah.
And wow, that was really, really good, really funny. And I'm sure everybody else out there knows it, but some of the scenes cracked me up so bad. Like there's a scene.
I think it's recent enough. We don't have to laugh at you for this one. I think that you get a pass on this.
Yay! My favorite scene was when he's injured to a point where he begins seeing little creatures that aren't really there.
Cartoons that just show up.
Yes. Oh God, it was so good.
You told me you thought it was it was sadder than you thought it would be.
Yeah. Tanya and I were talking about it, and we both kind of got the sort of tragic sensation from it, where you would watch him, and he's got this joking coping mechanism and way to deal with stress, and he uses it throughout. But you can see Ryan Reynolds does a fantastic job. You can see it in his eyes and in his face at certain points when he's dealing with who turns out to be kind of the main bad guy. He mouths off to the guy, but then the way Tanya described it was you almost see him saying, come on, I'm just an asshole with a big mouth. You're not really going to be so horrible to me. You're going to show me some mercy, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to be humane. And then the disappointment registers on his face. Like you can see all of that play through the character's face. And their moments like that aren't sparse. They keep happening throughout. He does such a good job of portraying the pain that Wade Wilson is going through mentally and emotionally as Deadpool, even amidst all the humor. So
good review, man. Nice job. You should do like a Deadpool podcast.
I only have that much though, so it just fits in a little tiny section of a real podcast.
It'd be shorter than most of our episodes, though.
That's true.
Our other host is the beaker to my Professor Honeydew. Jason, how you up to?
I love those characters.
Honeydew? I don't know.
Wait, you know who Professor Honeydew and Beaker are, right?
Oh, are you talking about Muppets?
Yeah.
When am I not talking about Muppets?
Ever since Disney bought them. No, God, I didn't know that they acquired them until 5 weeks ago.
Oh wow!
It made me so angry. But apparently the guy that used to play Kermit was a complete AWOL.
He just got fired. Yeah,
he was like, wow. I was living on Jim Henson's legacy, and all you guys are jerks. And yeah, apparently he was.
But you know who Honeydew is, right? You're good. Look, if you're not insulted, I can change it.
Beaker's the one with the really, really thin, cylindrical, tall head.
Yeah. And then Honeydew's the bigger one, but shorter.
Yeah, the one who electrocutes them all the time.
Yes.
Thus the analogy.
Okay, I like the Muppets. So.
We've beaten this joke till it is dead. All right, Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good now because I like ruining your jokes. I hit a wall in XCOM and just could not get past. Hey, you asked me what I was doing. This is my turn. I literally had to do what you showed in our chat was light a match and just throw a fire on my save and start from scratch. And I'm glad I did. Learned some lessons. But what I'm really interested in right now is, have you beaten Alien Isolation?
No, I'm about halfway through that game. So sometimes I start playing a game and I'm doing really good on it, and my family wanders in and starts watching it, and they're like, "Yeah, when you play this, we want to be here," and then they're never around. And so I usually have one game for me and one game for the family. And also, I do try not to play it when the little toddler guy is up, because Steve still scares him a little bit.
Daddy, it's Steve.
So the timing on Alien Isolation is a little specific. Not that he can watch Game of Thrones either.
You're not leaving yourself a lot of choices there.
He walked in today when I was playing Doom and saw me killing, the demons on Mars. And he's like, "Was that Steve?" I'm like, "I wish."
I wish.
Yeah, me and Steve aren't friends.
Have you been down to the power core yet? Or
yes, I think so.
Wait. Oh, wait, no. You probably blew up the power core on the other ship.
Look, the last thing I did was try to trap him in the.
Oh, okay. So now, no, you haven't been there.
Okay, so. And then I realized the alien and the androids are best friends and working together, and I got really upset, very upset about it.
That's the first I've ever heard of that. When you guys mentioned that last time too, like I've always heard that the androids could be used to bait him, like get them to make enough noise and he'd go after them instead. Oh. Is that incorrect?
They'll make noise and attract him, but then he'll ignore them.
Because they're not biological.
He walks by them, and then they walk by him and they're like, "Oh, I saw something weird."
Which is inconsistent with the movies because there's been multiple androids murdered by aliens. So.
And one of the aliens was just like, "This is fun. I'm just gonna poke you."
All I know is there was a scene where I was waiting to go up these stairs, hiding behind stuff, and the alien and the android are just taking turns going up and down it. And I was so pissed off that I wrote like a fanfic in my head about how they're best friends and dating. And
you shipped them. You shipped them while you were hiding from them.
That's
in a
how
dark
long
corridor.
I hide from them.
You have a problem, man. You have a problem. You know you have a problem when you ship alien, xenomorph, and an android.
Speaking of shipping, I forgot to ask you last week. Did you ship Boruto with anybody?
I did ask. One of my daughters actually really likes Boruto. I didn't mention that last week. And so I asked her, does Sarada like Boruto? And I could be down for that ship, but I didn't actually care enough at any point to want to ship him.
Sarada's the one with the glasses and the red.
Yes.
I totally shipped them.
And so we know from Naruto, my ship did not come true. Naruto and Hinata were not my ship. And Hinata deserves it. She loved Naruto since she was a little kid. So that's good for her, but that was not my ship. And so I think I'm just not going to try with Boruto. I'm going to crash and burn again.
You're so hurt. I can hear it in your voice.
I've said before, I prefer when the male pines for the female. The unrequited love from male to female than female to male. It's just a personal preference from past experience. That's all.
That's funny. No, what's our topic today, Troy?
We should talk about. You should know. You picked it.
I was segue.
I'm not good at podcasting. You guys all know that by now. For example, I say, we are having an open forum discussion on characterization in anime, and Jason especially complains about it a lot when we watch what he considers a bad anime, that the characters are not developed well enough. So we thought we would really turn to that, especially after watching Boruto, where that thought came up a lot for him. So that nail it for you? We good?
Perfect.
Okay. Why don't you start us off? How you want to tackle this?
Absolutely. I was thinking of kind of just doing a binary dichotomy between two characters, and obviously Boruto.
Hey,
go ahead.
Just for younger listeners who didn't understand what you just said, what does binary dichotomy mean?
I was wondering.
For me, I totally understand everything you said, but
fair enough. Binary would mean 0 and 1, or yes or no, or true or false.
Men and women.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that anymore, right?
So, or good or bad. So, for instance, we're going to talk about a good example and a bad example. So that would be a binary choice between good and bad. Dichotomy would be like the differences, or the like their interactions and how they work. I think. Am I saying dichotomy correctly?
I'd have to check just to double check, but I think it's comparing two things and seeing the differences.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
That's a mini-sode. Who cares?
That was my opinion of dichotomy as well.
Division or contrast between two things that are represented as being opposed or entirely different. So yes,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, great differences.
Dichotomy, differences. And the more you know. Dun, dun, dun.
Someone read the word of the day. Okay, so why don't you start us off with 2?
Sure. A really good example I found of a good character development. The one that's coming to mind for a bad one is Boruto. And there's a couple reasons for me that I didn't feel it was good character development. And that is, he didn't show any growth, as in his thought process, who he was as a person, and what his motivations were from episode 1 to episode 14. Nothing about him changed. He grew a bit as like power level, I guess, maybe. Not really. I mean, he found, he discovered his eye some more, but like, he was the same tenacious guy, always making mistakes, always making decisions with his heart, and always, you don't expect anything new from him. A good example for me would be Atsushi from Bungo Stray Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying his name right? Atsushi?
Yeah.
He started off as this character that was literally afraid of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And through a very for me, a very satisfying slow burn process of building up confidence, building up skill, building up life experience, we go from literally running away from himself to, I'm willing to take on the baddest of the bad, because it's not because I'm trying to get stronger, not because I'm trying to prove a point or be tenacious, but because it's right. I felt his character arc was extremely satisfying. And the differences between the two, they both start off small, they have a great adventure, and then they beat a big bad guy. Same formula, but I feel attached to Atsushi. I feel invested in his character. I felt a little invested in Boruto, but he was the same kid the whole way through, and I don't feel like he learned anything throughout the entire series or season.
I want to complain about the Boruto pick.
Sure.
In that I don't think it's fair when there's going to be, I'm assuming, planned 400 episodes for this character to expect a lot to change in the first 14 episodes. I assume in the first 14 episodes, they're only trying to establish the character and in no way try to change him, with plans to grow him later. Which is kind of like the hard part about doing a podcast on that is we don't get to see any characterization changes because we're literally watching the first page of a giant novel.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's fair. I guess then I could probably compare it to Goku.
Yeah, but then you would be taking mine.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's fair. That's fair. I think the same rules apply, though, because with Atsushi, through 12 episodes, not 14, he didn't change a ton. There wasn't a huge spurt of growth. Like, at the end of season 1, he was still frightened. He was still unable to control his power. He was still in a place where he was not confident in his abilities. But there was growth. And it wasn't a huge spring of growth, but it was...
In that battle, he's overcoming an inner
right
type thing. That's right. And Boruto did not do that.
Right.
He literally was just himself from A to B.
Yeah, I would say from hearing both sides of that, I would say that what I'm seeing is that Atsushi had a moment of learning something new, where Boruto had a moment of reaffirmation that what he's doing is right. In a sense, both things are learning. It's just one is more satisfying because you're witnessing something where somebody has to turn over a new leaf. But even with with Bungo Stray Dogs, obviously it's going to be 3 seasons. Who knows how many more? But I have to definitely say that I think if you're going to wind up with so many episodes, that introduction and reaffirmation phase is, It's not a great way to develop a character, but I guess it's an okay start. I start with the bar low, and then as you keep going in the series, you slowly raise it up. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah,
I think I appreciate storytelling that involves changing people's minds, changing their opinions, changing the way they act in a way for the better. Because power growth is not interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because, especially in a shonen, there's always going to be a new bad guy. Take, for example, I'll let you guys get to your examples before I get some more examples, because I have.
Well, I think this actually segues really well into what I've been thinking about. Because when you mentioned what this was in chat, I took it to mean what makes a good character, not necessarily. I took it to mean the primary character, the protagonist specifically.
You didn't see binary dichotomy coming.
I didn't see that coming, no. And I was certainly not considering any antagonists or side characters or anything. I really have just been thinking specifically about the protagonist. And one of the things that just became central to me for having a really good character, obviously, is going to be flaws. Whatever your protagonist, whoever they are, they've got to have some kind of flaw. But I don't know if I'm kind of a special case here, but I like it when they have some really rough around the edges flaws. Like, you remember Dimension W, the main character in that?
Yes.
I loved that. I love that kind of character. The same thing also with, we just finished watching Rage of Bahamut Origin, and
Favreau,
thank you. Yeah, the same kind of flaws there. I mean, obviously not the same, but similar flaws where you have a character that there's a serious problem with them interacting with other people or accomplishing whatever the story's asking of them, and then you will see them overcome that for the sake of something more important. I was talking to Tanya a little bit, and she asked me, so what kind of flaws are we talking about? How bad can it get? What are you ready to forgive from a protagonist, right? And so I've been thinking about that too. And I would think if a protagonist starts out the story being rough enough around the edges that he almost comes off as a villain, I'm okay with that even, so long as the story is compelling and that character actually gets to make a character arc that is convincing to me that they came around and they realized that whatever it is that they were doing or how they were acting was really harmful to themselves or others. and they wound up changing that, by the end. So half to 2/3 even, if they're being horrible characters.
You brought up really two really great examples of good character building. That was the dude from Dimension W and Favreau. Mm-hmm. Think about it. They didn't have huge major character or personality shifts by the end. Mm-hmm. But they both had deep flaws, like you said. They both struggled against the world, and they both not only learned something new, but changed something fundamental about themselves and the way they fundamentally view and interact with their world. Especially the Dimension W guy. He absolutely abhorred robots.
Oh, yeah.
And by the end, he wanted one as a partner. Yeah. So that isn't a huge shift as far as like a character, but that was huge for him. Mm-hmm. And it was endearing to be able to watch that internal struggle along with the rest of the story, which was fairly compelling.
I would even go so far as to say that in the recent conversations that the three of us have had regarding Rage of Bahamut and Favreau specifically, you guys have actually convinced me to a degree that Favreau did make that interesting character change in his, what was valuable to him and becoming more of a hero at the end. Like, I do think that that's legitimate. And it really does play into how his character could become more interesting by the end and actually finish that arc and become the hero.
What do you think, Troy?
Do you want my examples?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, my poor example is Goku. Goku, I think, is one of the
worst.
And to the point where watching him is frustrating now. So I've been watching original Dragon Ball with my son. It's the cleaner version, English stuff. They apparently took some of the naughty stuff out. Good for them. Seeing Goku, a naive child who comments on your boobs and doesn't know any better and wants to eat food and thinks fights are fun. Okay, that's 10-year-old Goku. I get it. Now we're watching 50-year-old Goku doing the same thing. He's just way more powerful. But, I mean, he trained with an angel who told him specifically what his weakness in battle was. You take it to you're too much mercy and you're too easygoing about your fights. You're not taking them seriously. If you focused, if you got more serious, you would be really better in battle. He didn't change at all. He still does the same thing when he fights. He still literally just had a fight with another Saiyan and was teaching her how to reach higher levels to make the fight more interesting. And he still comments on Bulma's saggy boobs when he sees her, and he has a grandchild and he hasn't figured this stuff out. He hasn't learned there's no maturity that's developed in him. It's almost creepy that he has children, because it's like, how did you figure out how to, be with your wife in that way and still come out on the other side such a man-child? It's kind of creepy. And I get that they're just like, that's Goku being Goku, but he should have developed a little bit over the 50 years he's been fighting.
When you deconstruct it that way, it's super creepy.
Yeah. Well, I do have to wonder as well. I mean, well, no, because he's got senzu beans. I was going to say, look at like football players and boxers and stuff. Those blows to the head, they cause mental problems. I mean, this is a fact.
I assume senzu beans fix that?
Senzu beans must fix that. So Goku has no excuse.
Or dying and being reborn should fix that?
Should fix it. So, yeah. Yeah.
Who's your good pick?
I mean, so I had a couple that I wrote down, but honestly, because of yours, I want to say Naruto. And it's actually what I loved most about Naruto was the growth of the characters. And I was trying to think of like other shonen series that showed a character mature from a 10-year-old boy to a 30-year-old man and actually go through the awkward teenage years and stuff. When Naruto starts out, he is very abrasive and very bratty for story purposes. He's been rejected by the village and he wants attention. No one's ever noticed him. And so he is loud and obnoxious to a T. Like, that is his character core. When he's a teenager, a lot of that has died down. And by the time we get to Boruto, he is a mature grown-up who still has a lot of flaws and stuff. He still can't get himself dressed in the morning. He's no way perfect. But there's this, I can feel like the weight of the world that, he's world weary now. You can almost feel that coming off of him. I really enjoy that about Naruto. You could also say Vegeta has had really good development.
Mm-hmm.
The Toonami just is showing the Majin Buu saga and watching him go through his midlife crisis because he's changed so much.
His story arc in Buu.
It's so good.
It's so good.
And that's like, my kids are like, why is he doing this? I'm like, it's a midlife crisis. He's freaked out. He has a wife. He has a kid. He used to be, the battle prince of the Saiyans, and now he's a dad and he's domesticated. He's like, I don't want to be this. But then he realizes, no, this is who I am, and this is what I want to be. That's so good.
he's the interesting fact that everyone knows it. Vegeta was the only one to disobey Majin Buu's orders.
Yeah.
Even after like being shocked and like magically tortured, he's like, no, I'm gonna do whatever the crap I want because I'm gonna beat this guy.
Yep. But I mean, they literally took a character from villain to anti-hero to full-on hero now, and to the point where it's even believable. And people are like, "Oh, remember how he blew up planets?" It's weird for Vegeta to just kill a race off.
Actually,
at the drop of a hat.
It's interesting you bring up villains because I was thinking about it. I think that's why I got a bit attached to Samura.
Class rep.
Yeah, class rep.
Class rep.
Because she had that character growth. Unfortunately, it.
Oh, spoilers
happens.
For Boruto if you didn't watch the last episode.
Right. Well, okay, good, because I haven't said anything yet. Yeah, it's I felt it was decent character growth because you had this dichotomy of her in the classroom and then her in the mask, and then finally we learn all of her motivations. She has this coming to terms moment, and then now, in the next season, I'm going to see her get interrogated, but then also, obviously turn into a good guy. And I actually enjoy when a anime will spend time on a bad guy, because I think a hero is only as good as their villain.
Yeah.
And I think I'm pretty sure the way you were describing Naruto is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. So I have one last question before we wrap up. When you watch an anime, how much does characterization make or break it? I don't know the rights to that song.
Yeah.
Our song is playing right now.
It's a different one.
It can, for me, it can be the difference between a 3 and a 5. Like,
wow.
It's ReZero. God, for me, that's just like a pinnacle of anime. Literally every single well, not, I don't know about literally, but nearly every single character that had any form of dialogue in that story had character growth. And sometimes it was really minute. It was tough to see. And other characters, just their complete lives turned around. I mean, look what happened to Rem. Like, that's pinnacle of like character growth, and like you went from over and over murdering this guy to I want to have children with you, but I know I can't be with you. Like
even her life for him. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. God, I love that anime. Have they done a season or another season yet?
They're working on it.
I would have told
working on it.
As soon as I could. Jeremy, what about you?
Honestly, it's important to me, but I don't know how much it's interlaced with story. If story is really good, setting is really, really good, those things can make up for it for me. It's about 1 point for me, probably a 4 to a 5, difference.
Let me be clear though. I think it depends on the length of the story. If it's a movie or maybe like a 6-episode series, I'm okay with not a ton of character growth. I mean, look at Iria. That didn't have a ton of character growth in it, but I mean, it had enough. and it was a short season. And the movies, you don't have enough time in a movie to do a lot of character growth.
Yeah. Also, I think it's an issue of like how many characters grow too.
Absolutely.
So, like you mentioned with ReZero having a little bit for all these different characters, that is pinnacle. But even if it's only just like maybe the main protagonist, one other good guy, and maybe just even if that's it, I think I'd still be okay with it.
So for me, it's almost everything.
Oh.
If you make me care about your characters, I could almost care less what you make them do in the story. And you know, there's examples of that. You know, I've been raving about that game Tales from the Borderland that I just played. I couldn't tell you if the story was good or made logical sense, but those characters were so darn endearing the entire way through that I don't even care what the gameplay was like, and it's probably not that good. You know, it's QTEs and some point and click and some dialogue choices. But I cared so much about Reese and the other characters. I can't remember names. Loaded.
Oh my!
Well, they're dead. So.
It's also one of the,
Yeah.
It's why I'm watching My Hero Academia every Saturday morning when I wake up first thing. You know, I run and I turn on the VRV and is the new episode up? Because I've fallen in love with those characters. I don't even care what they're going to do that week. Just let me see your characters again. And you make me care by making them grow, making them 3-dimensional. And it doesn't even have to be complex, because I don't think the characters of My Hero Academia are complex characters. I think they're simple, but they are 3D. And I really enjoy that. It's almost what I do it, you know, what I watch for.
I would agree with you 100% on that.
Okay. Well, I have either wolves or coyotes howling at the door. That's disturbing, but I think that should probably get us wrap it up, and I'll go hide.
As long as it's not Steve, right?
Oh my God!
Yeah. No, Steve just comes at me with his middle fingers extended. And when I got the flamethrower in that game, it was so sad. I could keep hiding, but I want to burn him so bad.
I'm gonna hunt him down.
Unfortunately, you only have so much.
Yeah. Only did that once. But it felt good. All right, let's wrap up. If you want to reach us, we would like to hear your thoughts on characterization, whatever you want to call it.
Character jitsu?
Binary dixamies. Yeah.
Did that just happen?
We want to hear your thoughts on it, so please go ahead and share your thoughts. Maybe I'm way off. Maybe I should be paying more attention to the plot, like Jeremy, or maybe characters are all that matters and everything's just filler. We would love to hear your opinions and your examples. That would be pretty great too. You can reach us on our Twitter at Baka Podcast, or email the animebakaclub@gmail.com, or leave a comment wherever you found this podcast. We are currently watching Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. We hope you are enjoying the jiggles.
D is for dragon.
D is for dragon. And we will be talking about that next week, so I hope you can join us and share your thoughts too. With that, let's say goodbye.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Sayonara.